Welcome to Big Agenda with Chuchi, right here on Prime Reporters. And on today's segment, we'll be talking to a very familiar name when it comes to Nigeria politics. Former Minister of Sport, among others, and the current spokesperson of the coalition ADC is Malam Bolaji Abdullahi. Can you explain to us what is really happening within your leadership?
Well, what I hear is a lot of assumptions from you, thinking that people who make those kind of claims are actually members of our party, because they are not. I mean, you don't forget that the coalition itself was brought about by the political condition that was created by the ruling party, which was to destabilize all opposition political parties, whether it's the PDP or the Labour Party or any of the other political parties. And the situation they created made it impossible for people to remain in those parties as opposition leaders. And that was when they agreed and decided to come together to form the coalition as an alternative and as a way of saving Nigeria from a state of one party democracy. So the coalition itself was born out of that necessity to avoid Nigeria descending into one party. So the people that created that condition are still the people who are engineering what you see and saying that the party was hijacked by some people. Some people came in through the back doors or windows to take over their party, and of course. So it's the same people making claims with. So there is no problem in our party. There is no confusion in our party.
As INEC formally recognize your faction as your authentic leadership ahead of the 2027 election?
There's no faction in ADC because when you say faction, you mean that there are two contending forces legitimately claiming authority within the party. There's no faction. There's only one ADC. Right? That is number one. Number two, we don't need INEC recognition. INEC doesn't need to recognize us. Right? What INEC needs, because the issue of party leadership is entirely the business of the political parties. Right? INEC just need to be informed that these are the leaders of our party. And they want to know that the process of transition, the process of electing or selecting or appointing this leader, as the case may be, follow the due process. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it is more of administrative process rather than political approval. INEC has no role to play. So when you organize your NEC meeting or as part of the process of appointing or electing new leaders, INEC needs to be notified within a statutory period of time to say, look, we're having this meeting on this particular day, I think to give 21 days notice to INEC, so that INEC will be able to monitor the meeting, not to approve the meeting or not approve the meeting. So when that day comes, INEC will now send their representative to that meeting to sit down and observe. So when you complete the process, INEC will write their own report. Then you will now write the minute of that meeting, and you communicate it to INEC to say, this is what we have done. Do you understand? It is based on what you have written to INEC, the INEC will now take action. So what you see as INEC not recognizing the leadership of the ADC is just administrative, and we're going to resolve it this week.
There's an argument that the South has not yet completed its 8 years in power. And your chairman being from the North, is there any consideration zoning the presidency to the South?
You see, that's not the kind of conversation that ADC is getting involved with at this time. We are not talking about zoning or who will be president or who will not be president. As you know, maybe APC, they have a sitting president, so they can afford to adopt their sitting president. PDP, another party that's like desperate to revive themselves, can say, oh, we've zoned to this part of the country to encourage some people to join their party. But they can afford that. We can't afford. We haven't got there because you know that yes, ADC had always existed for a very long time, but this is the fourth time that's mainstream, that's playing mainstream politics. So we still have a lot of work to do to build our party across the country, to build the structures, and that is more urgent and important to us than the decision on where the president will come from. We believe that we still have time to take that decision. We'll get there. When we get there, we'll discuss it, but we haven't got to.
In the last by-election, the ADC performed poorly. A lot of people attributed this to the weak structure of the party, while others alleged that the senior members were secretly, supporting the opposition parties and perhaps the rival parties. What step are you taking now to strengthen your party ahead of the election, 2027
Number one,
election?
it's not true that anybody is secretly supporting. You see, these are the kind of rumors that is spread to create suspicion. So you begin to say, oh, maybe somebody.
Yeah.
What really, in reality, the candidates that participated in the by elections were actually not known to us. Don't forget that ADC had always existed and they fielded their own candidates for election. So before we even joined the ADC, many of these candidates have been decided. We didn't know them. So more or less, it's like we didn't participate in the election. So anybody that wants to judge us by that by election, I think they are not. They don't know what. They are not being truthful. So we don't want to be judged by that election because we more or less didn't participate. Yes, there are people who ran on the name of ADC, but we didn't know them. They're the legacy ADC people that had been elected as candidates before we got into the party. And don't forget that everything we're talking about, ADC, the reason you are interviewing me today, that ADC became a major opposition party, it's less than 2 months. So and I think that in less than 2 months, I think we have not done badly. So for us, we would like to look forward to the subsequent elections. We have the Anambra election coming. We have the FCT election coming in February, and of course the 2027 election. You see, what the people are celebrating by elections, regardless of all the deficiencies in the electoral process, what they ignore is that what ADC is doing reflects the desire of majority of Nigerians. Every Nigerian that is not happy with the way the APC government has run the country is aligned to the ADC. So 2027 is going to be a different ballgame entirely because it's going to be Nigerians versus the APC government. And for us, what is clear to us is that majority of Nigerians have signed out from APC. They don't want this APC government to continue. The only question is whether we, as opposition party, will be able to convince them that we represent the alternative. So that's the challenge that we have, and that's the challenge that we are ready to face.
Okay, thank you, sir. Let's talk about political relationship. You worked closely with Bukola Saraki for years, moving across parties. Right now, he's in PDP and you are in ADC. Is there any conflicts within you politically, or are you there to hold space for him in your coalition?
It's interesting how often I get asked this question, and I had to try my best to just remain. When we started together with Dr. Saraki in 2003, I was 34. I think I was 34. 34 years. Today I'm 56 and a grandfather of 2 boys. And I will still be holding space. So, I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
So, but the question of whether there's conflict, there's no conflict. There's no conflict. If you are 56 and you still live in your father's house, something must be terribly wrong somewhere. Whether on the side of your father or yourself, something must be terribly wrong. So there's no conflict, and we just have to our understanding of politics evolved, and everybody had to just play their own game.
And that is where we end today's segment of Big Agenda with Chuchi on Prime Reporters. A big thank you to our guest, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, for sharing his thoughts. And a big thank you to you, our viewers, for always engaging with us. See you next time. My name remains Comfort Chukwukelwe.